Okay, good morning, everyone, and welcome to this live session on Management Concept course. So, we are here. We are the faculties that have offered this Management Concept course on Swayam platform. I am Dr. Shima Tarab, Assistant Professor at Department of Commerce, Aligarh Muslim University. With me joining my co-faculty of the course, Professor Nawab Ali Khan, who is a professor at Department of Commerce, Aligarh Muslim University. And we are very happy to join this live session to interact with our participants so that in case they have any query or they have any doubt or they want to ask anything about the course, because we are at the verge of completion of this course and it is very heartwarming for us to be live with the students and discuss in case if they have any questions. So before we begin anything and come to the query part, let me just give a glimpse of the introduction of the course, that what was the purpose that we have designed this course. Since management concepts are something which is very essential for any organization, irrespective of the industry. And we have seen our undergraduate students often struggling with the management fundamentals. They, of course, they know it, but there is a lack of clarity in understanding the historical development, how the field has developed. So, for covering up this part, we have offered this course wherein we have covered in detail regarding how the whole concept has been developed over history and its different phases in which different developments in the field have been done. So now I request my co-faculty of the course, Professor Nawab, to kindly give a glimpse of an overview of the course.
Thank you, Dr. Shima. Students, in this 12 weeks program, we have discussed a number of things pertaining to management concept. The first week was about the introduction to management. In this first week, the major topics that we have covered are the meaning and concept, nature, whether it is an art or science, purpose, for efficacy versus effectiveness philosophy. We have also seen the functional approach and overview of the management functions in this week, students. We have gone through the difference between the administration and management, need to study the management, context of management has been covered in this week. Along with these students, the relationship between the organization and management has been covered in this week. To apprise you about the organizational environment and its components, we have discussed with you the internal and external environment of the management. So, this was the idea that we covered in the first week. The second week is about another important area that is from the performance perspective of the management. In this week, students, the major coverage area has been the important people who are involved in the management process, that is the managers. We have seen here who are the managers. We have seen here the corporate views on managers, gone through the what are the various levels of management, and also the different types of managers in organization have been taken care of in this week. Another important thing covered in this week is the power dynamics and the managerial abilities of the managers. Reward and challenges of being a manager have been taken care of in this week. And another important thing that we have taken care of in this week is the role of the managers. That is, the what are the managerial roles. Our students, in this week, phase 3 skill approach has been taken up along with the effective versus successful managers. Changes impacting managers' job in contemporary organization have been covered here. And also, we have seen how do managers perform role analysis and skill analysis. So it was the idea about the performance perspective of management that we covered during the second week. Student, the third week was about a very important aspect of management, that is the evolution of the management. It is in three parts. In the first part of the evolution of management, students, we have seen the background. In this background, we have seen why history is important to study. And also, a very important area of coverage is the early management thought, modern history of management, and classical school of thought, consisting of the scientific management, administrative management, bureaucratic management have been covered in this week. And the last thing that we have covered in this week, students, you have seen is the critical analysis of the classical school of management thought. So students, this week was dedicated to the basic knowledge about the evolution of the management. One, it was part one. In part two, that we covered in the week four, we have taken care of a number of aspects pertaining to the evolution of management. In this evolution of management, we have seen how to reflect on the emergence of neoclassical era. Here we have gone through the important aspects like who have contributed. Here we have seen major contributions in this area consisting of Hawthorne studies, the social man theory, the human resource relations movement, and social system approach. These things have been covered in week four, students. In week five, students, we have seen the evolution of management in the third. It is the third part of the evolution of management because the area was quite comprehensive and it was not possible to cover in 1 week. Here, students, the major or very important aspect to be covered was the background of the modern school of management thought. Here, we have seen the main contributions of the modern school of management thought, consisting of the systems approach, quantitative approach to management, quality approach to management, and also the contingency approach. These approaches are a very important part of the modern school of management thought. In addition to these main contributions of the modern school of management thought, students, two more important areas have been touched upon in this week. This is the evaluation of the modern school and also the application of the contribution in contemporary organizations. So students, this was the basic idea about the conceptual framework that we have given in week five. Now students, the week six is going to be very important for us because here we are going to, we have seen in fact, what is the contemporary phase of management. Here, the major focus has been on the digital age of work, emerging needs in new age organization. Here we have seen the work environment. We have seen the characteristics of new age organizations, and also the system thinking and collegial OB model has been covered this week. Here we have focused on two things, that is how the structure have been transformed and how to manage and run new age organizations. Friends, in this week, another important thing that has been taken care of with the utmost significance is the information-driven organization. In information-driven organization strengths, our focus has been on the main concerns of the data-driven workplace. Here, HR analytics and concerns of tech-based work have been taken care of, especially to make students aware of the contemporary phases of the management. And this week, student has also covered about the sustainability aspects. We have taken care of how to address the sustainability concerns and stay relevant to stakeholders. And finally, students, in this week, the last thing that has been taken care of to make you understand the concept of the management in a systematic way is the value-laden work culture. Here, what values need to be fostered in organization culture and people to sustain competitive edge and survive. So, student, this was the theoretical part. This was the conceptual part pertaining to the management concept, wherein efforts have been made to give you a conceptual clarity about the origin of the subject matter. Students, this part was, of course, very important to make you aware of the philosophy of the management. The second phase of our subject starts from week 7. It is the practical part, students, which starts from week 7. Students, from week 7, we have started a number of themes which are very important. And I request Dr. Shima to start from the week 7, these themes which have been covered in this program.
Thank you, sir. So after this first set of week 6 that we have discussed different topics which were more inclined towards the development of the thought from the history to the current phase, Now, from week 7 onwards, we have talked about the specific functional approach of management, which shed light upon the major functions of management. It starts with the planning. So we have covered in this topic in this week, we are going to discuss about, we had discussed about the concept, the purpose of planning in management, also the process of planning, how managers plan, the importance of planning, especially in the current time, also how it affects the performance. We have also shed light upon the critical part of the planning perspective, that is from the strategic viewpoint. What are the different types of planning, different levels of planning, goal setting, the approaches, the traditional and also the modern approaches in goal setting. These are some broad topics that have been covered in detail with specific examples, and we have tried to connect the topic in a more contemporary perspective so that students will understand the relevance of planning. In the next topic in week 8, we have the decision making in management, which talked about, of course, the concept, its significance, basic characteristics, the basic fundamentals of the topic. The process of decision making is very important. How a manager can make effective decisions that can help organization to overcome the crisis, to overcome the issues in daily life as well, and also some critical perspectives, the different styles of decision making, the conditions and the context in which the decision making may change, the type of decisions, different decision makers based upon their styles. This is what we have shed light upon in the topic of decision making. Additionally, of course, since decision making is a human perspective, of course it is not free from biases and errors. So how to take care of that, how to overcome biases and errors, that part is also taken care of. Additionally, the concepts like bounded rationality and intuition and groupthink, which is very in the perspective of decision making in management. So these are some broad topics which have been covered when we were discussing about this function of management. Week 9, we have talked about the function that is organizing and its relevance in management. Of course, starts with the fundamental, that what is meant by organizing, how organizing is very important in the whole process of functional approach. What are the characteristics, need of organizing in management, the nature and importance of organizing. Of course, the process of organizing, how any activity or event which is organized. So say the basic essence of management, and there are various factors that helps us understand the structure of organization, structure that guides us how the flow of activities in an organization will be. So what are the basic factors that affects these decision making in organization, and different structures which are changing over a period of time dependent upon the context. So these are some topics which are covered in the topic of organizing function in management. Week, that is week 10, that talked about the control in management. Now herein we discussed about the concept of control, the different models and different process of control, different types of control, which is feed forward, concurrent, feedback control. Then of course, what are the requirements or a prerequisite of an effective system wherein control can be systematically adopted by the managers. Different types of characteristics, what are the scope of activities which are being taken care in the management in the light of the contemporary phase. Then there are cybernetic and non-cybernetic control which have been addressed. There are different techniques of control, of course starting with the traditional and moving on to the modern side. Balanced scorecard, which is a very important topic in the topic of control. So that is also being in detail with, of course, some simple examples to connect with the students and taking care of the audiences that we have. In week 11, we are talking about the leading perspective in management, the importance of leadership in management. So we understand that any organization is incomplete without a righteous leadership. So the topic of leadership, its importance, what is the difference between managers and leaders. Then of course the development of leadership theories, which is not just only the traditional part, but also how it has evolved over a period of time. What are the different trait theories, behavioral theories, contingency perspective of theories, and there is a set of number of theories which are there in the contingency perspective. That includes situational leadership theory, Blake-Mouton grid theory, path goal theory, Vroom and Yatton model of decision making for a leader's decision making techniques, Friedler's LPC model, transactional and transformational perspectives of leadership. These are all set of leadership theories that represents the contingency perspective, that is a situational perspective of leadership. And of course, the topic is incomplete without touching upon the contemporary lines that talks about the contemporary leadership styles which are there. So that has been covered through the leader member exchange perspective and Coase and Posner's leadership participation model. And some other leadership issues are also being discussed when we were discussing this in week 11. And of course, week 12, which is the ongoing week in which students are learning about motivation. So herein we discussed about the concept of motivation, what is the process of motivation, the types of motivation, which is not just only extrinsic or intrinsic, but also financial and non-financial in nature. And of course, the theories of motivation, which talked about the early theories, the contemporary theories, and a very important topic that will be covered in this week, which is like how the manager time can design motivating jobs, because this is some of the critical issues of the current times. It's very difficult to motivate people. It's very easy to say that people are motivated by different types of incentives, but in the current time, it's a right kind of managerial attitude which is required to understand by the people in an organization. So designing motivating jobs, and also covered some issues which are there in the modern workplaces which are related to the motivation of employees. So this is, we could say, an overall view of the 12 weeks that we have discovered in this course, and also we are learning through, and week 12 is ongoing. But we could say a whole plan of the 12 weeks. And then there is something very important from the students' perspective. I would like Professor Nawab to shed light on the exam and the certification pattern. So the exam is also on 25th, shifts in which the exam will take place. I'm sure the student must have registered by now for the exam. So morning shift and evening shift is there. So 9 to 12 or 2 to 5, dependent upon the time that you have registered yourself with. And it's very important for you to pass at least 8 assignments out of the 12, which is given after every week. So the weekly assignments are very important for your certificate part, because that is something very, very relevant for the students who have enrolled for the course, because we want you to get the certificate as well. It's not just that we are just delivering content, but we are also concerned about the acknowledgement of the same by you, and the certification as well. So it's very also important for you to shed an understanding over the assessment of the this criteria of the exam as well. So it's very important for you to pass at least 8 assignments out of 12, and the exam will be proctored. There will be 75% of the attendance. The final score will be a total of the assignments and the score, which is the exam score.
Yeah, Dr. Hima, what do you think? Can we should not we share something about each unit in a brief time, a few minutes about each unit?
Some kind of questions also from the students that I've got. So one of the student was curious to understand it whether management is a profession or not. So maybe we can cover in this manner. So maybe you can answer this.
Let us. I think let us go one by one. Let us take week by week. In every week, something important is there about every topic. So I think because you have started from the first week to 6 weeks,
Yes.
in each week, what is the major area to be covered? We inform students. Let us take one by one. You can start from first week, and then we go ahead. I will take
Okay,
up
sir.
from
So in the
week 7.
first week, I have given a lot of stress over to make the students understand that what management is all about. How it is different from the other topics, and what are the major functions. What are the different approaches of management. And in the second week, I had deliberated upon the managerial perspective. So it is different from like the management. So in the first week, I have stressed upon management as a concept, and in the second week, we have paid a lot of stress upon explaining that what managers do, what their task is, what is their performance perspective. So the query of the students that whether management is a profession or not, well, it is transforming into a profession, because of course organizations are looking forward to some technical skills. which are not, just only for the technical roles, such as, some kind of a science or engineering background. It's like the managerial field is also transforming into a profession, because the requirements are changing, because the expectation of the contemporary workspace is changing. In the third week, we have gone through the evolution of management, starting with the first phase, and then the next 2 weeks also covered about the history. So third, fourth, and fifth week, deliberated in detail about the history of management. And in every phase, I have also focused upon the contributors as well, that who are the people who have contributed, what is their background, what set of mind they come from, and what kind of observations they have made that really have changed the field of management, which is today that we see. So from the contributions of Taylor to Fayol's contribution, and of course the modern management that we know, the Hawthorne experiments, all of these are some major topics which are being discussed in detail. And then the sixth week, of course, different contemporary requirements of an organization, how the new age organizations are changing. Moreover, the context of the organization, which is changing because of this VUCA and Bani framework, which has really affected not just only the employees in an organization, but the formats of the work as well. Now the blended concept of the workforce, which is not just only humans and the a kind of a structured role, but there are also some kind of temporary workforce which will be there. So the flexibility is adding upon to the landscape of workforce, and not just only the humans. It's like now in the contemporary phase, the role of technology is increasing, improving. And it's like today, if you see the trend, so the blended workforce also counts upon the bots that are working together with the humans. Amid all of this, of course, management is changing 180 degrees. It's like it's very important for students to understand the basic fundamentals, so that they can understand that what is coming next in the field of management. For example, the skills of managers, what kind of skills are required. So it's like it's very important to focus upon how the landscape is changing, and to address these needs, different types of management techniques have to be evolved with the time. So this is what we have covered in the initial 6 weeks, which focused upon what management is, who managers are, what they do, and how the concept of management had been evolved from the scientific management to its contemporary phase in the next 4 weeks. So initial 6 weeks talked about the basic fundamental management concept.
So you have discussed the 6 weeks, Dr. Shima.
Yes, sir.
I will take up from 7th week onward, but before that, you asked me one question that student asked you, that was regarding the management as a profession. In fact,
Yes, sir.
this is a very important query. In fact, students they are confused sometimes why we call it. So basically, am I visible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You're visible.
Okay. Let us first of all know what is the profession. Friends, a profession is a well-defined body of knowledge which is learned intellectually and with an organizational sense. To enter a profession, a person has to undergo the relevant course and write the exam. It is primarily concerned with serving others, pros. It is something which is related to our work. So reason why it is considered a profession, I will tell you in a just 2-3 lines. It is considered a profession because it consists of special knowledge. It has a special formal training, methods, fees, has a code of conduct also, and has a representative organization, students. And it is because of the existence because of the existence and experience of the employees. And that's why we call that management as a profession, because probably you're not aware of the basic role that the managers play in an organization. So when you will become employee, you're likely to have skills and experience, and that you can use as an asset. So having staff or working as a staff somewhere who are knowledgeable can be invaluable in a setting. Which is apart from the completer's point of view also. So you should make sure that your employees, if you are an employee, your knowledge and your skills are passed on to other colleagues also, to successors also, wherever possible. So this is kind of a requirement for the future point of view also. So that's why the management is considered, because it deals with a number of basic sources of knowledge, like the knowledge of the customers' knowledge, employees' knowledge, superiors' knowledge, market strategies, market knowledge, knowledge of the business environment also is there. So this is all when we talk about the acquisition of knowledge and we talk about the uh, application of knowledge. So that's why it is considered as a profession. Dr. Chima, what do you say? What do you say about this further?
Yes, sir, definitely, because new age organizations require more of the technical perspective. And because of this, we say that it is not, we cannot say absolute profession, but it is transforming slowly and gradually because the needs are changing. So we cannot just only rely upon the conceptual part. The practical part is very much improving and enhancing. So the field is expanding and it requires more of the technical perspective and more of the practical knowledge, since the contingent perspective also talks about it. And this brought me to the next problem of the students. I have got some queries. So one of the students have asked about that, why it is very difficult for employees, like for managers to motivate employees. So this is one of the question, that why it is very difficult for managers to motivate employees. So maybe you would like to answer this.
Why it is?
Why it is difficult for managers to motivate employees?
Actually, I will tell this. Let me come to the motivation part. I have a separate discussion. It will duplication otherwise. When I will take up the motivation, I will answer this query about the
Okay,
motivation of
okay.
the employee.
Okay.
Let me, students, first of all, begin from 7 week onwards. What actually the specific knowledge I want to share with you, because it is a kind of capsule form of our discussion. You have attended lectures online mode, and now you know what exactly, because listening too much for 1 week is a lengthy process. I'll tell you in a crispy form what actually these all functions of management are in a very simplified language, so that you know what actually is the main purpose. Let us talk about the week 7. Week 7 students was dedicated to the planning. Planning, we discussed very clearly, is a fundamental management function which involves in deciding beforehand. We normal language also, we just tell planning is deciding in advance for future, what is to be done, when it is to be done, how it is to be done, and who is going to do this. These are, when a number of W's are prefixed, then it is a kind of intellectual process, friends, that lays down an organization's objectives and develops various courses of action by which the organization can achieve these objectives, friends. Here it chalks out exactly how to attain a specific objectives. Friends, in simple words, we can say that planning bridges the gap between where we are standing today and where we want to reach. This is as simple as that, because it involves selecting the missions, objectives, and the actions to achieve them. It requires decision making, which is choosing from among the alternative courses of action. So, friends, it will not be wrong to say that planning is a blueprint of the course of action to be followed in the future course of time. And it is the most basic form of all management functions. Everyone used to plan. We, in our day-to-day life, plan. Every individual plans. And the people who do not plan, they normally do not succeed. They are not successful. They are daydreamers. To be successful in life, everyone should plan. Every day should be planned. We plan to execute our official work, improvise career, and plan our investment also. Students, planning is basically the, if you look it from the organization's point of view. From individual's point of view also it is important, and from organizational point of view also it is equally important, because the organization's goals, establishing strategies for achieving these goals, and developing plans to integrate and coordinate work activities is done. And it will not be wrong to say that the success of the organization to a very large extent depends upon the planning, students. After planning, the other important thing that we have taken care of is the decision making. I have covered in my 1 week of decision making every aspect relating to the decision making. I will tell you in a very crispy form what this decision making is for each individual.
whether he is working in an organization or he is not working in an organization. It is in a very, very simple words or simple terms. If I want to explain you, I can tell you that decision making involves recognizing a problem, collecting information about potential solutions also, and ultimately selecting the best alternative. In other words, you can say that the decision making is a technique of creating an alternative with the aid of figuring out a decision and accumulating information. It is, students, an essential part of the modern management and a key part of the manager's activities, because the decision making helps in achieving the organizational goals and to solve the problem. And we have to be sure that we are right. Then we can go ahead, and then we can reach to our destination. It is something which is concerned about the critical thinking. Actually, it is a kind of resolution. It is a kind of conclusion that we have to reach after consideration. So, students, when there is a lot of problem solving process, when there is a lot of creativity, when there is what do you call challenge to face, so you can think that the process of examining our possibilities, our possible options, comparing them, and choosing a course of action is the decision making. In just simple language, you can say, because decision making is a process of choosing between the alternatives to achieve a goal. Here one thing has very clearly come out of this discussion, that it is a process by which an individual chooses one alternative from the various available. Students, if the decision making is not done in a proper way, the organization will not be successful. The organization will not be able to do anything systematically, because it is the decision making which tells us the direction, a place where we have to move. Actually, those organizations which are not taking care of the decision making properly, or who are, in our normal life also, if we do not uh, decide the right direction for us, what will happen? We fail to reach our destination. We have to reach our destination, and for reaching destination, we have to take each step very carefully and cautiously. So decision making is that cautious approach of management which leads to the grand success of organization. And organizations will fail if they are not taking a right decision at a right time. Students, the next week 8 was week 9. I think it was about the organizing. Organizing, you have seen in one week, we have discussed almost all aspects relating to organizing. We have given a good dose of organizing, and you have seen that organizing is nothing. It is simply a process of determining the task to be done. Who will do this, and how these tasks will be managed and coordinated, and to structure or arrange the relationship between the people, the work to be done, and the facilities so that the goals are achieved. It is a kind of systematic arrangement of placing things at their respective places. So don't be confused with the planning, because in planning also I told you that it is to be decided in advance for future. But it is not about deciding in advance for future. It is about deciding that who will do them, because in organizations there are plenty of tasks, and tasks are assigned to different people. Otherwise, there will be chaos. So to avoid the chaos in organizations, friends, managers have to organize the activities so that they want to perform their tasks in a very successful manner. In every organization, every manager has to organize. If some people say we will be dangerous if we don't organize, this is true, because organizing makes things under control, under coordination. No disturbance will be there. There will be proper coordination of activities. There will be proper utilization of the resources. It will establish the relationship between the individual and the groups. And apart from this, it facilitates the growth and creativity which is required in organization. Because students, organizations are for the people, by the people, of the people, and group of people. And they have common objectives. And they work with this mission that the ultimate goals of each individual and organization are same. The goals of organization and the goals of individuals should be merged in such a way that the individuals become the integral part of the organization. Students, if the individuals are at different place, organization is at another place, the problems will multiply. And here, it is the organizing function of management, whereby there is a absolute uh, mechanism which is used to facilitate the administration. This encourages the growth and diversification because unitedly they can fight actually. And in fact, in organizing, it is told to management is taught to use the new technology. It is made through the sound structure and the competent employees. The employees, if we want to take the optimum use of technology from them, it requires that there must be optimum utilization of the human resource also. Human resource is the most important component in organization setup. Even if machines are there, a lot of machine mechanization is there. Man has replaced, machines have replaced the man. But even then, when it comes to stimulating the innovation and creativity, students, it is always on the part of the employees. It provides for effective management of change and response favorably to the change in environment. Students, it was the idea about the organizing part, which is very important part of the management function. And in every organization, the managers have to think about this part. And if they don't think of this part, there will be chaos, there will be mismanagement, there will be disorders, and ultimately the organization will suffer. The next area is students. Next week was about the control. Dr. Shima, I think the question you asked, some student asked you was about the control or for
It was for motivation, that why it is
motivation.
difficult to motivate people.
I will come to that part. Before that, I just summarize students about the week 10, which is important function of management, and we call it control. Students, control is a function of management, which is just like the brakes in your car. For example, if you drive the car or motorcycle, there is a part, there's a brake, which is used to stop your vehicle. So control is that mechanism by which the organizations set standards of performance. In organizations, they compare the performance of subordinates against these standards. And also, the very important thing is of taking the corrective actions. Why these corrective actions are taken? This is to ensure that the activities of employees are carried out according to the plans. There should not be any kind of wrong route, actually. If once we slip from one direction to another direction, we cannot reach our destination. Control is that mechanism, that device in the wheel of production, that is in the wheel of organization, that it makes things possible in a systematic way. It makes accomplishment of the job easy, simple. And if of course deviations are there are options for correction also. The correction of deviations is done to assure attainment of the objectives according to plan. Every organization, has some plans. The plans are to be achieved. These cannot be achieved without effective control on the various aspects of management, because, we always look for the actual results against the expected results. And here, the role which is performed by the management is in the form of the control. Control, students, let me tell you, finally, is a process of monitoring performance and taking actions to encourage or ensure the desired results. It sees to it that the right things happen in the right ways and in the right time. If everything is done well, it ensures that the overall direction of the individuals and the groups are consistent with short and long range plans of the organization. So friends, now in short, you have seen that the control maintains the system of organization in such a way that there is a compliance, the compliance of the essential organizational rules and policies. Otherwise, the organization will not be able to manage the day-to-day affairs of the organization, and there will be mismanagement, there will be chaos in organization, and who will suffer? It is the organization. If there is any loss to organization, it will be the loss of the employees also. Employees are the important stakeholder in the process of organization setup. So student, this was the idea that I have given you to summarize you so that you understand the basic concept of the functions of management in a simplified words. Students, the week 11 was about the leadership. In leadership, I have given you a comprehensive idea about each and every aspect of the leadership, and I have tried to make sure that things are, done in a systematic way. Anyhow, so students, leadership is important, and leadership is important for the organization because it is the leader who leads in organization. Leadership is very important because the control process in organization will not be possible. Leaders affect the human behavior to accomplish a mission. And students, now we are coming to the last part, week 12, because I have got some signal from Dr. Shima to conclude, I think. So in this last part, students, this is about the motivation. Motivation, students, is the last part. In motivation, in this course, and also the query I have to resolve, we have seen that every organization has to motivate the employees. Employees basically are human beings. And for human being, motivation, what is required? Food. The food required for the brain is the motivation. It needs continual and regular top up, like you top up your mobile phone when the talk time is complete. So students, motivation is a process which begins with a physiological and psychological need or deficiency, which triggers behavior or a drive that is aimed at goal or an incentive. So students, the motivation is a kind of process by means of which the organizations develop the employees. Employees basically are heterogeneous by nature. Their attitude, because the employees come from different castes, creeds, regions, religions, ethnicities. Their behaviors are different. It is not possible to have a kind of homogeneous atmosphere, but it is the role that the managers play in every organization, that they try to manage things in such a way that the urges, drives, desires, and aspirations, strivings, or needs of each and every individual are taken care of, because it is the human behavior which is impacted because of this. So the motivation, students, brings changes from the unsatisfied mind to the satisfied mind, which creates a kind of equilibrium in organization. That's all from my side, Dr. Shima, about these 7 weeks program. Now over to you. What do you want to say?
Yes, I think it's very fruitful for students to have at this point a kind of a recap of the whole course. And I think many of the already been answered when you were covering, each of the topic this much in kind of a recap view. So I hope the students will get benefit out of this session as well, along with the other weekly, material that we have uploaded in form of videos and some kind of assignments. So we just wish all the best for our students so that they could excel in their exams, which is almost very near. It's like on 25th October, they have their final exam. So best wishes from our side. And we just hope that this live session will also have added to your understanding of this course better. And we thank you, both of us, thank you all for participating in this course and be a part of this course. So thank you very much, and thank you, sir.
Thank you very much from me also, Rajima. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, friends. And in case if there is further any query, so I think they can post their query to us directly or not.
Yes, so they
Is it
are
possible?
posting the queries, and we are already addressing at the discussion forum. But I thought that it will be, good and great if we cover it in the live session as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.